Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautorestore.com. I'd like to share with you a brief update. Not a whole lot we're going to be able to see, but I just wanted to share with you a progress update. This is the 1967 Dodge Coronet. In previous videos we've shared with you all the work that we got up to this point, and we were doing quite a bit of body work. We had done a considerable amount of repairs to both front fenders. Both in fabrication. We had to remove some old lead that was used, so they were all redone properly. So now it's that painstaking process of block sanding, and all of the sanding that we're doing on this car is all being done by hand, and there's a lot of tricky angles and movement throughout the body, which is going to be beautiful when it gets to the painting stage. So we're just going to do just a brief walk around. You can't really see a whole lot. But we have the gray high build primer applied. We did actually three nice coats just last night, and then you can see this little black dusting that's on it. This is called a guide coat. So it's dusted with a guide coat. So now our next block sanding is going to be 320 grit. So we've basically started at 80 grit. We worked our way from that to 120, 180, 240. And now we're going to be going, next will be 320 grit, and then we'll apply another coat of primer, and then we'll be sanding final 400. So we're kind of over the bend and getting closer, and we're seeing that any flaws in the body is becoming less and less as we're blocking it out, where typically you see a lot of little spots kind of popping through as you use the finer grit paper. So it's going to be quite a pretty car. So as we come around, we shared in previous videos, there's so many different angles on the panels. You've got a ridge here, and then it kind of bevels in this area. It comes out to a point, it bevels back through again, it's rounded, there's a sharp edge, and then it curves down. Same kind of idea with the rear door. Probably one of the nicest style rear doors on a four-door I've ever seen, where it kind of pillows out or is bulkier in the center part of the door as it comes in, and then it's this raised portion that comes along and it raises up into the quarter panel. So a lot of dramatic lines. And then as we come around the back, you can see the trunk is relatively flat, but we have this really nice body line design with the groove, and the bevel gets more defined at the back, and as it goes towards the back window, it tapers off and then it disappears. So it's very challenging for the guys here that are doing the block sanding on this, because there are so many contours and edges, but it's going to be quite attractive. Pardon me, once it's all ready for final paint, because you're going to see all of these nice body lines. Same thing on the back deck. There's quite a bit of damage along the back here, I'm assuming from breaking ice and that sort of thing, being a Canadian vehicle. But even the back window area, you can see where it has basically where the roof line meets, it's kind of raised up and squared off around the corner, but then it tapers down, and you can see this shoulder, which is quite high, it tapers down in the middle to not very much at all, and then comes back up again. So when you see all of the lines that are in this car, you really appreciate the style. We mentioned in an earlier video the roof line. We've got the normal roof line, but then there's a definite ridge that comes across the sail fin and across the roof, and once that hits the ridge, it actually tapers down and back, and then we have another ridge. So very, very tricky when it comes to block sanding all of these contours, but it's going to be really attractive when we have the metallic paint. And our client, we did a sample, pardon me, so it's going to be virtually the identical shade of blue that this Coronet came with in '67, but to give it a little bit of definition, we've added a special sparkle metallic to the recipe with a little bit of pearl in it. And then we're going to be painting the whole car and all the components for it in a base coat, clear coat finish. So we just wanted to basically kind of share with you how nice the body's coming along, the different steps that are involved, because anybody who watches any of the restoration shows, they never really show how long it takes or how much work is involved in this stage before the painting process happens, because typically they just kind of load it up and send it off to a body shop. It comes back and it's shiny. But this is a considerable amount of work, and it's a very, very important step, especially when you have all of these angles and the size of the car. You have to make sure that everything is sanded properly. So now that we have it getting closer, we're going to be getting ready to do the inside of the doors, the door jambs, and the underside of both the hood and the trunk. So we'll probably share with you a video, the next step, once we have the door openings ready for paint. And we'll go through the process, and then once it's painted, obviously we'll share how the stages go with this 67 Coronet. So I thank you for watching. I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.